John Barrymore. Good morning, guys. This is Flames coming to you from Man's Chinese Theater. Way up here, as you can see. Well, maybe you can't. There's so much glare. Let me see if I can back up here. It is currently decorated for Crimson Peak right now, which will be opening soon. I think this week, as a matter of fact. This is Flames coming to you from Man's Chinese Theater. I am a California native. Hopefully you can hear me. I live and work here. Just thought I'd come down here and give you a tour of Man's Chinese Theater. If you've never visited California, come on down. It's a very touristy area. Invite your followers. You can continue to follow me on @Flames on Twitter, Flaming Rickshaw. And I thought I'd come down here after not being here for so many years. So interestingly enough, this place was actually opened in 1927 by Sid Grauman as a marketing campaign. And the lions that you see here in the forecourt, one on each side, are actually called Heavenly Dogs. They are real. They are not fake, by the way. Those are actual Ming Dynasty Heavenly Dogs. This is actually an actual working theater. This is not just a museum. For a museum, you have to obtain tickets. Sid Grauman, it's gone by various names. Most people know it as Grauman's Chinese Theater or Man's Chinese Theater. And now it is known as the TCL Chinese Theater. The reason is because Sid Grauman originally bought the place as a marketing scheme. And he had two partners. Anybody want to guess who his two partners were? Famous people. So let's see. We have Dorothy Lamour, Irene Dunn. Let's see. Rex Harrison. Oh, and can't miss this one.
It's not very big anymore.
There's Eddie Murphy. And of course, Star Wars. And of course, Star Wars. So, to continue, Sid Grauman had two partners in owning Man's Chinese Theater, and those were Mary Pickford and Douglas Fairbanks. And the first person to actually get her fingerprints, or actually her fingerprints and her shoe size, imprinted in cement was Mary Pickford. Second was Douglas Fairbanks, although that kind of makes sense considering that they are part owners of this. And Sid Grauman ran the theater for many years. He did think about retiring in 1932, I believe, but another California native convinced him not to. And that person was Howard Hughes. Howard Hughes convinced him to remain the manager for a few more years, I believe because he wanted his help in making a movie called, oh boy, the name escapes me right now. But anyways, he convinced Sid Grauman to remain as acting manager for another few years when his movie came out. And there are a couple of times that Grauman decided he wanted to retire, each time deciding not to, and he finally did retire in 1950. Since then, when Grauman died almost 25 years later in 1973, another gentleman by the name of Ted Mann bought this place. And then he eventually sold it, or actually declared bankruptcy. In 2001, I believe. Don't quote me on that. But after it came into an ownership for someone else. I forgot who, but eventually it was also bought out by a corporation, TCL. So now it is known as TCL Chinese Theater, not Mann's, but it is known worldwide as Mann's or Grauman's Chinese Theater. So the idea, this landscape, the idea for this came about purely as a marketing scheme and an accident. Turns out Sid Grauman fell into some wet cement when the workers were coming out to lay the cement, and he fell in it. Yes, he did. And gave him an idea. And that was the idea that was born. So, let's see. Who else can we spot around here? As far as I know, all the tiles here are still here. Rumor has it that they are not removed at all. How true that is, I don't know, because there are quite a few spaces that are empty. The group from Harry Potter, and their shoes and handprints, and also their wands. They're not required to put in they are not required to put in their handprints and shoes, although they are definitely whatever is ubiquitous to them. So in this case, Harry Potter kids, their wands. They are chosen by special committee and their contributions to the entertainment industry. Interesting thing about Dick Van Dyke, as well as Julia Louise-Dreyfus. If you didn't already know, those two have been the victims of a typo. Yes, their names were spelled wrong, and they were eventually fixed. So the two names, Dick Van Dyke, Julia Louise-Dreyfus, should you ever come across a trivia question as to whose names were misspelled, well, Julia Louise-Dreyfus and Dick Van Dyke. The celebrities are chosen by a special committee and their special contributions to the entertainment industry. Let me see. This is a working theater still, hence you will see Crimson Peak is featured. So I think the premiere will be opening this Friday, which is a good time to come down here, so to avoid all the crowds. And of course, as you can see, lots of crowds, lots of people. Even on a Tuesday afternoon. Yeah. So, Mann's Chinese Theater was not the first, actually. This was the third of Sid Grauman's marketing scheme. First was the $1 Million Theater. Second was the Egyptian Theater, which is not across the street, but it is here. So, Marion Davies, look at that. Yeah. And however much I'm not a fan of hers, there's Cher. Helen Mirren. And the lovely Vin Diesel. So like I said, this is a working theater. There is the museum piece in here. So, this was declared a historical set in 1968. It first opened to Cecil B. DeMille's King of Kings, and has since featured many premieres, such as Star Wars in 1977, as well as the Academy Awards 3 times, 1944, 1945, and 1949.